Hey, good people, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. On today's show, of course, I got to wear the shirt. I got the sweatshirt on because my boy Spice Adams is going to join me in the Hangin' With Ron Johnson segment, so you do not want to miss this. We actually pulled on the heartstrings a little bit and got serious for a minute with Spice, but the ESPN did a three-year outlook for NFL teams, and the Vikings are below the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions? We'll talk about that next on the Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now the Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. And it starts now.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. I want everybody to know this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Just visit FanDuel.com/Locked On to make every moment more. And there are some great ones. There's some great early. If you're looking for some early parlays, I kind of looked it up today. Odds on favorites to win the Super Bowl. Come on now, who do you think? The Kansas City Chiefs. You got the Philadelphia Eagles. You got the Buffalo Bills. But for you Vikings fans, if you want to put some good money down, you might as well do it now because the Minnesota Vikings are getting plus 4,000 right now. Plus 4,000 is around the odds for the Vikings to win the Super Bowl. So their opening odds and the current odds are the same for them. But you know what? The Lions odds are getting better. The Chargers odds are getting better. The Seahawks opened up at 6,600, and now they're down to 3,000. So they think the Eagles have a good, or Seahawks have a chance to win the Super Bowl now. So, hey, check out FanDuel.com/Locked On. I know the odds are going to change, people, so don't quote me on those odds because they change every day. Because whatever you bet, the odds makers keep moving that line. But right now, the Vikings, you might want to put some money down on the Vikings because who knows? If you put down $20. Multiply that by 4,000, and now you got a good payout. So as I bring my producer to the show, though, Sam Ekstrom, I want to get started in this because Sam, 3-year outlook of NFL teams. And when I first heard it, Sam, and you kind of told me, give me a preface it, like who voted on this? Who came up with this? Where does this from?
Yeah, so ESPN, another ranking. They've kind of been giving us a new ranking every day here in July, but they pooled their panel of experts, Dan Graziano, Louis Riddick, and Seth Walder, to rate each team's quarterback situation, remaining roster, drafting, capital, and ability, front office, and coaching. And they gave scales basically 0 through 100 and came up with a final number to rank the team's 3-year outlook. So there you go. You looked at the list. I looked at the list, and I could tell by your cold open, Ron, you're a little fired up.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing. The top 5, I kind of understand. The only one in the top 5 I didn't understand, but I guess maybe they're putting a lot of power into OBJ because you got the Eagles at 1, you got the Chiefs at 2, you got the Bengals at 3, you got the Ravens at 4. Now, this is a 3-year outlook. The Ravens are almost a 90. Their only reason for concern is last year's future power rankings. Worried about the Ravens' philosophical approach, their offensive personnel going forward under OC Greg Roman. But then you add in OBJ, maybe he locks on and he gets it going. You look at Zay Flowers, a first-round draft pick. Lamar Jackson is going to be there for a while. Roquan Smith, who the Ravens signed to an extension. We know how good he was with the Bears. So maybe this is why they're saying. They also put the Buffalo Bills up there, tied with the Ravens for 4th. And so the Buffalo Bills, I understand that one, but who knows if they're going to have Stephon Diggs or not. But then we get into the NFC North. Let's go down to the NFC North. First of all, the Lions are 11. The Lions are the number 1 team over the next 3 years in the NFC. Now, NFC North. Now, if you were to tell me the Vikings were 12 or 13, I'd say I totally get this. The Lions have a really young core. They've drafted well the last couple of years. They have a ton of first-round picks. But then you go down to their reason for concern. the pass rush to take down the real heavyweights on a consistent basis. Yes, Aiden Hutchinson, 9.5 sacks as a rookie. They did linebacker James Houston was spectacular with 8 sacks in 7 games, blah, blah, blah. But then they're saying stat to know the offensive EPA, blah, blah, is a testament to their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. Now, but Jared Goff, it says despite the efficiency of Jared Goff. How can you say despite the quarterback, we're going to say you're going to be 11? Like, what? It's all about the quarterback. That's why Mahomes and the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and the Chiefs, they're up there. That's why the Bengals are up there. That's why Josh Allen's up there. And that's why Lamar Jackson's up there in the top 5. So you can't say despite the quarterback. That's dumb. You just really want to love the Lions right now. Everybody wants to love the Lions right now for some reason. Vegas has the Lions as winning the NFC North as well right now. So I get it. You got the Dolphins at 12. You jump down to the Chargers. But then you got at 14, I should say this should be the Vikings at 14. Vikings should be 14. No, it's the Packers with a picture of Jordan Love. Now, if that's not like complete irony, you got them ranked 14th with an 81.3 overall score, but then you show a picture of Jordan Love. Reasons for concern should be Jordan Love. It is. So then why are we putting him up there this high? Will be making his second career start with 83 career passes. I really like the talent of the front office as a symbol, though. What? Aaron Rodgers left because of the front office's moves. Like, what are we talking about right now? But we just really want to love, I guess, the Packers a little bit. Now, should be the Vikings next, right? No. Chicago Bears at 21, 76.9. I'm not going to even go into theirs. And then you got the Minnesota Vikings at 23 with a 75.8. Now, I do get it. This roster's old. There's a lot of holes. But Brian Flores says, I can take a bunch of pieces and make this defense great. He did it with the Dolphins. Kevin O'Connell's in his second year. I don't feel like he's going to regress as a coach. I don't feel like Kirk Cousins is going to regress as a quarterback. And Justin Jefferson, damn sure, is not going to regress as a receiver. So when I think about what this team could be in 3 years, because we're saying, like, we're putting no credit into what Kwesi can do the next 3 years. And that's the only reason why I don't like this, because none of this, like stat to know, the Vikings took a 1-year bet on edge rusher Marcus Davenport in free agency. Blah, blah. The Minnesota Vikings betting on the former Saint to get them back to the 2021 form. Blah, blah. So that's the stat to know for them. The reason for concern, their defense has to get straightened out. Duh. They had Brian Flores. The unit was at the bottom. Minnesota cannot continue on that path and expect to maintain that kind of one-score game success that they had in 2022. Here we go again with this one-score game success. That's the reason for concern. Like, that's your they're 13-4, and that's your reason. They have Justin Jefferson. And they're not going to let him go. So it also says new defensive coordinator Brian Flores should be a big boost too. That's the reasons for hope. So in one breath, it's a reason for hope, Dan Graziano. But then in another breath, well, it's Marcus Davenport. Let's see what Brian Flores can get out of him. Louis Riddick. Come on, man. Like, y'all are all over the board with this. Like, I understand the grade, but if that's their grade, then the Packers and the Bears should be below them. Lions, they are an anomaly. They might end up being really good going back to like the playoff days of the Lions, which wasn't a lot. But maybe they run off maybe a playoff or two. So the Lions, I get the way they ended the season, the way Dan Campbell has them going. I get that. But the fact that the Bears and Packers should not be ahead of the Vikings the next 3 years. But Lions, I understand that one. I don't know. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, so I'm looking a little more closely at the Vikings here, and they do break down how they graded each category. So they've got roster
minus 20, the quarterback.
20 minus quarterback.
Yep.
24th. I get that. They've got a couple of great players, but it's not a deep roster. Mm-hmm. I get it. Actually, I do. Quarterback 17? 17. I mean, we've been doing Cousins rankings all summer. That's the lowest I've ever seen. Right. Cousins at 17. Wow. Coaching 21st. I mean, if you're going 21st for after what Kevin O'Connell did last year and adding Brian Flores, right, are they just knocking it because he's young and new and he hasn't, done it for a long time? If you do then you can knock a whole bunch of coaching staffs. And then draft, I guess I get it. 25th. They don't have, as many draft picks as the Lions and Bears and Packers, who have all made big trades, Ron, like that. They've all made huge trades in recent years to get a bunch of draft picks and get a bunch of young talent. So in that sense, they are ahead of the Vikings in the draft. And front office, that seems very arbitrary, but 22nd, I guess, because Kwesi hasn't done it very long. We don't really know if he's a great drafter yet. We don't know if his moves will all work out. So a couple of those are very random. A couple of those are kind of questionable. So I think they got the short end of the stick here by, I think, about 5 spots. I think they got to be in the teens based on this criteria.
Yeah, I mean, so they got the Bears roster. This is what I don't get. The Bears roster is 27th, but then the quarterback is 11th. So what are y'all talking about right now? Like, what are we doing? What are we actually doing?
11.
The fact that 11th. How is Justin Fields 11? Like, what are we doing? You got the quarterback for the Packers, though, 25th. Kirk Cousins was what? 17th?
17.
You got him as 25th. You got their roster at 18th. Minus the quarterback, they're 18th. With the quarterback, he's the 25th ranked quarterback. Their draft is 4. So maybe there's a lot of stock they put in the draft. But again, should not be higher than the Vikings. Like those two for sure. When you look at the Lions, I kind of understand the way they went with them. Like, again, young roster. I thought their draft class was higher. They said the Packers draft class was a 4 and the Lions was a 12. So again, I don't get that. They said Jared Goff is ranked 10th for quarterback. And they said
what's going on here?
Yeah, their roster is 14th. So, and they said Dan Campbell's 14th as well. Their front office is 9. I get their front office because they have done some wizardly stuff with the draft and getting, accumulating draft picks and first round picks in particular. So I do understand that they've had a lot of first round picks, but they can't stop gambling. So who knows? But Sam, I don't think we're ever going to find the answer we like in this. We just have to let the next 3 years play out. So we're going to have to put a pin in this and then put it in a time capsule. And then in 2027 or 2026, come back around and look at this and be like, man, the Vikings won a Super Bowl in 2025. Like ESPN had no idea what they're talking about, but you never know. Or they might suck. They might suck the next 3 years and ESPN was right. I don't know. But I do know that these quarterback rankings put Goff at 10 and Fields at 11 and Kirk Cousins, what was he, 17?
Maybe, Ron, if they're looking at a 3-year span, they're saying to themselves,
saying that Kirk won't be there.
3 years down the road, maybe we project Kirk to be a 17th rank. That'd make a little more sense.
He might even be with the Vikings at 17. So maybe they're saying that'll be J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, who they're going to draft in the first round. Could be. But, man, it's time to get over to my boy Spice Adams. We got Spice Adams joining us in the Hangin' With Ron Johnson segment. Looking forward to that. Remember, people, the Minnesota Football Party. You can check it out 4 days a week. Arif Hassan, Luke Inman, Luke Bryan, and Sam Ekstrom. I join it every once in a while as well. On Thursdays, I jump in. I have a little fun with them. But we got a word from our sponsors as well before we jump into the Hangin' With Ron Johnson segment.
Yeah, let's talk about FanDuel. The Open Championship starts tomorrow. I'm juiced for it, and I'm eyeing Cameron Smith to get back the claret jug. He's 22-1 as the defending champ, and he just won his last Live Tour event coming in here. You got to go Cam Smith at plus 2,200. You know what else you can bet at FanDuel? Baseball. You can bet all the baseball games, including the Minnesota Twins who play the Mariners tonight, and you can get plus money on those Twins, plus 126 on the money line with Kenta Maeda on the mound. And if you're a new customer, great promotion going on. Get 10 times your initial bet in bonus bets back up to $200. Bet 20, get 200, whether you win or lose. That's the new promotion at FanDuel right now. It's a great, safe, secure, easy-to-use app, and you get paid instantly when you win. No better place to bet baseball than at FanDuel or the Open Championship if you're a golf nut like me. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's the website, FanDuel.com/lockedon. Check it out today. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
Hey, everyone. Now it's time for the Hangin' With Ron Johnson segment. And normally, we had Ryan Mundy, Pittsburgh Steelers defensive back. We had Ryan Clark, Pittsburgh Steelers defensive back. Those guys are like friends, but they're outside friends. Now it's time for me to bring one of my real friends in here. The hardest to get in touch with, by the way. My real friends are harder to get in touch with than my fake friends that I know through sports. Friends of the program know Spice. The world knows Spice. I've known Spice pretty much most of my life now at this point. And he's the reason why I had to go to Minnesota, because my grades weren't good enough to go.
Hey, Ron, you know what? Interesting fact. We've known each other for longer than we haven't.
True facts. We met, we were like 13, 14. And we are now, I'm 30. What are you, 43?
No,
you're
don't
old.
do this. Don't do
you're
this,
old.
Ron.
I'm 30. You're 43. So
accept your fate, man.
So as I bring my boy Spice in, man, I'm bringing Spice in today because it's a training camp situation going on right now around the world. We know that football is a week away. Some teams are reporting this week.
Yeah.
Like some teams are getting into football this week. So
It's
people,
crazy.
we've been waiting for this moment. Football is back. So of course I got to bring one of the biggest football guys. I know he is the biggest football guy I know because he's the biggest person I know. And it's Spice Adams. Spice, this time of year for training camp, man, what was going through your mind when you knew you had to report?
Don't hurt myself. Like I was going hard, man, working out, and I would go back to Penn State and run with the team. So I'm like, man, don't hurt yourself trying to hang with one of these young little 22-year-olds, man. Just keep a good pace, you know what I'm saying, and work your technique and stuff like that. But I never really wanted to go into camp hurt. That would be the worst, man. So around this time, I start taking heed to the stuff I was eating because you had to report at a certain weight.
Yep.
And then our fine was $500 per pound per day. So if you came in 10 pounds overweight, that's $5,000. And if you ain't lose the weight by the next day, that's an additional $5,000. So I was like, yeah, let me get myself together.
So what was your incoming weight? Was it just like a question mark? Like they didn't
well, look,
give you one?
they be slick. They be slick. They try to ask you before camp even starts. They say, hey, what's the most comfortable weight that you can play in? Just hypothetically, what do you think it is? You'd be like, well, I feel pretty good at 305, 310. Say, oh, okay, I was just asking. Next thing you know, your reporting weight is like 305. They always take the lesser one. So your reporting weight is 305. You come there, it'd be 315. They'd be like, hey, bro, what you been doing this whole time? Like, coach, I've been running, I promise. No, you ain't been doing nothing because you're supposed to come in to 305. And it's a whole ordeal, man. Because when I was with the Niners, they didn't have an assigned weight. They was just like, long as you come in here and you make plays, like we don't really care. So going to the Bears, they was finding people. I was like, what is this? But I got underweight.
Hey, coming in, like I said, you clearly come in with the energy. You come in with and we've had some guys on like Ryan Mundy. He knows all about Spice Adams and has been around you, but not as a teammate.
Yeah.
We've had Ryan Clark on that brings Spice up. We've had Nate Burleson that brings it up. What is it about you when you walk into a locker room that you just can't be a normal human being? Like, what is it?
I'm just high energy, man. I like people around me to have a good time. Football is a rough sport, and you got to be able to, laugh to keep from crying, man. So I always was doing a bunch, Ryan, I always doing a bunch of stupid stuff, man, having people laugh, and people like having me around because they know like I'm not fake. Like I just keep it real, man. I just like to have a good time. I was with some young boys today. I volunteer coach at my son's high school, and it was just the energy on the sideline was dead. I say, man, is this football or funeral? Like, come on, man, like get hype. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is the most exciting time of your life. High school football. You ain't got to worry about no bills. You ain't got to worry about no taxes. You ain't got to worry about kids,
True.
like nothing, bro. So live your life, man. Have fun. Y'all should be so obnoxious on this sideline. Like, it should be ridiculous. So, but that's just the type of energy that I have and I bring all the time. But you already know that.
Yeah, I worked out with you a couple of times, and we couldn't have been teammates too long. Like, it was hard enough dealing with you working out. Like, you're annoying. You are annoying.
I had a workout just now, Ron. I do not recommend, bro. It was so miserable, but I like putting myself through misery when I work. It was 104 degrees in my garage.
I just had some snacks. So I had I had some prunes. I had some nice vegetarian pasta.
Eats prunes, man?
They're good for you.
What type of person buys prunes on purpose?
They're good for you. I have raisins, prunes. I got some kombucha. I had some pasta.
Who are you, man?
They're good.
Who are you? We used to eat Coney Island. Now
you
buying prunes.
I'm buying prunes. I'm having Caesar salad tomorrow for lunch. That's the thing. Best Buy, I'm doing a commercial, and they asked me to say, hey, what would you like for lunch? I'm like, man, Caesar salad. Like, I'm not doing like a submarine sandwich and all that. No, give me a Caesar salad. I'll take an apple.
You used to get a bacon
some water,
double chili cheeseburger.
I did
with chili cheese fries and chili cheese Sprite.
I haven't had a bacon cheeseburger in like 4 years.
Used to order a chili cheese Sprite.
No, chill out. That was you. But I haven't had red meat. I just
put chili cheese on everything.
I'm just trying to live long. But Spice, man, you brought up something, man, I want to talk about, especially because I know how important kids are in sports. Mm-hmm. And I don't have sons, so I don't have to worry about the world of football. But you have a son now in the sport. Really good athlete. Kind of a clown sometimes. I love him. My little nephew. Love to hear his stories. Love to hear his stories. But you have a son in football, man. Like because you see a lot of football players make the comment, like, I don't know if I'm gonna let my son play football. But you know what I mean? You let your son make his own decisions and kind of go out there and love it. So what is that like as a dad, watching him go through what you know is coming?
I'm kind of torn, man, because ultimately I don't really want him to play, but at the same time, I want him to live out his dream. Like he loves the game, and who am I to deprive him of that? When I got that experience, I understand like all the life lessons that football has taught me. I'm grateful to have played the sport and get paid for it, and it afforded me, the house that I live in, and I don't know, like I'm torn, bro. I don't want him to play, but at the same time, I want him to make a decision for himself to play. And of course, he going to his sophomore year. But here's the thing: in order for him to play, he also has to do track and field, and he has to do wrestling. And so that's the criteria, because it's just everything that you're going to do on the football field. Like, you have to be explosive. So that's where the shot put comes in. You got to wrestle with 330 pounders. Like, you got to do that. So that's where the wrestling comes in at. And we're up north, whereas if you were in Florida or you were in California or you're in Texas, you're going all year round.
Right.
So up here, you can't do football all year round. So what do you have to do? You got to wrestle. You got to run tracks. And that's just what the deal is, man. Like, it's different rules out here, man. And so in order to get some type of edge, you got to go all out in wrestling. You got to go all out in track and field. And then we were watching the draft, and I was telling them every person that got drafted, they had like interesting facts. And all the interesting facts were, oh, this guy was the number one in the state in the hurdles.
Yep.
This guy was number one in the state at shot put. This guy was number 3 in the state at wrestling.
Yep.
And I'm like, do you see that? They checking to see what you did in high school too, other than football. So, I just let them know that it's important that you do other sports as well.
And being out there as a coach, because I remember my dad played football, Super Bowl champion,
many memories, dog.
Came back out there, and he was probably in your situation, knows a ton about the game, but doesn't want to step on coach's toes.
Yes.
How much do you try to like not tell a coach they're wrong, maybe in a technique they're trying to teach the D-line?
Oh, man, that is a great question, dog. Like, because I feel like how your dad did. I know exactly how your dad felt now, dude. Because you don't want to – you remember on 5 Heartbeats where the guy was playing the piano and he was messing
and he took it from him?
He was looking at him like, no, this is how you're supposed to play it. Sometimes I be feeling like that. But it's like, I don't want to step on no toes, and I'm really passionate about the game, and especially D-line play. So I don't want to – ruffle no feathers or nothing like that, man. But, I always make sure I pull kids to the side and say, hey, man, shoot your hands. Shed the guy, go make the tackle. Don't try to make a tackle with a guy still on you. You got to shed the guy. So, I try to give them little tips along the way. So, but I know exactly how your dad was feeling, bro. And your dad was so cool, man. He's the only person I allowed to tape my ankles because, Coach Reynolds was trying to save money. So he'd be trying to save the tape and tape your ankles all tight. And it's like, fam, I can't even move. I can't put my socks on to put my cleats on. Like,
oh, yeah.
My feet are purple. That's a problem. Remember the guy's foot in Big Trouble in Little China?
Oh yeah. That's the thing, man. Like everybody don't know how to tape. You know what I mean? Like everybody see it, but they don't understand it. That's the same thing like in the training room. I was the same way in college. Like I had to go to the same trainer for 4 years because I just didn't know who was going to tape them right. And then once I found one trainer, he was my guy. I'm like, and he wasn't the head trainer. It was like our assistant guy, Mike Purcell. I'll never forget. I was like, Mike, going forward, bruh. Like, and then the best thing was when I became the guy. Like, I remember my sophomore, junior year when they were like I was with the vets. I was able to skip the line. I was able to get my tape done because like I got to be out there for warm-ups, man. And he would let me skip the line. That was the best. Because I'm like, I got to go to, because you know that you hate sitting and you got like 5 dudes in front of you. And then you're looking at the clock like, oh, we got to be out there, man. Like, come on, man. And so, so he was sending them younger dudes down to like the assistant GAs and all that. And he took care of me.
Pay your dues, young buck.
But yeah, Reynolds didn't know a lot of stuff, man. And he knew what he knew. You know what I mean? Like he knew what he knew, which was he was a good football head. He was a good speech guy. Yeah. But he didn't know much past that, man. One thing I don't think we ever talked about on here, man, or even really talked about, and I wanted to ask you this one. You have little Anthony, but your dad, man, like you had to go through a lot of high school and college with limited contact with your dad. But when you finally, like, how did you navigate? Because I've seen videos, like our boy Will, Bradford has sent us videos of like people talking about like, man, black men wasn't taught how to be husbands and sons and brothers and, fathers, man. We was just taught to live and work. Mm-hmm. How did you kind of figure that out, man? Like, because you're a great father, you're a great husband, you're a great friend. You're not a knucklehead. You weren't a guy. Because Ryan Mundy, I had him on the show yesterday, and Ryan Mundy, I joked about like not going to Michigan and why I didn't go to Michigan. And he was like, so were you scared? I'm like, no, I wasn't scared, man. I was like, I knew I had to get away from Detroit. But it wasn't because of guys like you. And he brought up a name too, man. He brought up Shazar. That's why, like, if people that want to, like, I'm going to have to send that over to Brian and Will. Like, he brought up Ernest Shazar, or Ernie. I didn't ask him about Carl. He brought up Ernie. But when you talk about like how you've learned to be a father, and then your father, you guys have a great relationship now, you're able to have contact with him now. But how was that, man? Like navigating, trying to figure out how to be a man and a father, without, with limited, I guess, options in the house.
I didn't grow up with my dad in the house, but I did have father figures that I looked up to and took a lot of notes from them. And then I just did the opposite of how I felt growing up. Like, I never saw my dad at any of the practices, never saw my dad at any of the games. So now I'm at every practice. I'm at every game. I'm at, every recital. That my daughter plays the violin. I haven't missed a musical that she's had. I haven't missed her being in the band. I haven't missed my girls be doing water polo. My girls do fencing, like all that stuff. I'm there for everything. I'm supporting. I'm a shoulder to cry on. I'm somebody to talk to. So I'm giving them everything that I never got. So I think the way that I combat that is I just do the opposite of what I felt growing up. And that was like, he was never there for any of that. And, I don't, pass judgment on him. Like he made a mistake and he paid the price for it. Yeah. And, now he's out and, instead of meeting him with a lot of hate and a lot of resentment, I met him with a lot of love, man. I got him a car, got him, a laptop and got him off his feet, bought him some suits and stuff like that, man. Now this guy worked for Ford from 5 to 5 graveyard shift. He's in the union.
Yeah.
So like he's doing his thing, man. I'm proud of him, super proud of him, man. But growing up, I was deprived of a lot of things that I give to my kids as a standard. You know what I'm saying? So, that was just, I'm singing to the choir to a lot of people out there who grew up in single parent homes. But, I thought it was important that my mom really didn't badmouth my dad like that. So I didn't resent him as I got older because I would have been filled with a lot of hate. So I appreciate my mom for raising me the way that she did.
Yeah, man, that's super dope, man. Because I know a lot of people. Everybody's got different paths and different ways of doing stuff, man. But I know that was the one cool thing, man. Growing up with you,
this is real talk, man. We should get like an Emmy or something for this, man. Like we haven't had a serious conversation like this in a while. Like you already know these things about me.
Yeah, man. But I wanted to let you tell it, man. Because I talked to Ryan Clark and one thing, man, he kind of like really is proud of big time. Like Ryan and I text every once in a while. Like he gives me ideas for my show. I kind of ask him like, hey man, I saw y'all do this. Shout out to Ryan Clark because I know we're doing something this year with the Vikings during training camp. Thanks to Ryan Clark's idea, so I'm trying to run with it. I don't know if I'll do it any justice, but I'm gonna do it the best I can. But this is what Ryan, man, he kind of reminded me, man. He's like, man, he's like, the one thing, because like I went on the Pat McAfee show a couple of times, love Pat McAfee, and even that, people was like,
Pat too, man.
People was like, man, like the one thing I noticed is when you go on Pat McAfee, man, you're you, but you're honest and you're not bashing people like some people try to do. And he's like, but you also show love. Like I showed love to Pac-Man. Like I told Pac-Man right away, like, man, like I don't care what people say about Pac-Man Jones. I was like, bruh, like you did your thing. You know what I mean? Like
years.
Like, people can say whatever they want. They could judge off the field, but I was like, bro, you was a real one. So he sent me a little message after, and then he tweeted a couple stuff. Me and him been going back and forth now on Instagram and Twitter. But I'm like, man, like I appreciated Ryan Clark saying that, like, man, like you went out on a limb doing XYZ and blah, blah, man, we out here doing it. And so that's what I want to say to you, man. Like you inspire me every day, man. Like every time I see you do something, I'm like, man, that's dope. Like, it's pushing me because I know some people.
Hey, man, what you trying to do on this show, bro? You trying to Roy Firestone somebody out here, man?
Some people,
not
man.
Gonna cry, Roy. Not gonna cry, Roy.
No, man. Some people Firestone? Get like resentment for their friends. You know what I mean? When their friends make it and they don't, they hate it. For me, I'm wearing the shirt. You know what I mean? Like I wore this on the Vikings.
Never been like that.
Show. I'm wearing this on the Vikings show, man.
We
like
celebrated each other's wins.
Right.
Bro. I was so happy for you when you went to Minnesota, bro. Even though I wanted you to come to Penn State with me, bro.
I know. I look back on it too. I kind of wish I went to Penn State just a little bit. Not gonna lie, man.
Listen. Yeah, I had you, fam. Do you remember chemistry class? I got you kicked out of chemistry class so many times.
Numerous times. Do
you know what happened?
I wouldn't have took no classes with you. I wouldn't have took no classes with you.
Bruh, I would have made sure you had a class with me.
I wouldn't have took no classes with you. There's no way. I would have went to the counselor and I'd be like, I can't have a class with him. There's no way.
I promise you.
Like I'll take the class.
Sure, I got a class.
But I'm not taking it. If he's an 8, give me the 10. Like I'm not going to the same class. I wouldn't have
that class and signed up for it.
But man, like let me say what I'm saying is, man, like wearing apparel, like, you know what I mean? Like that's the one thing, man, that I don't think people understand is athletes. And Ryan Mundy, I love what he said today or yesterday. Ryan Mundy's big thing was mental health and the Black community. It's so often we don't talk about little stuff or we don't show love to each other. You know what I mean? Blah, blah. Yeah. Like, and I saw Nate Burleson say that to your boy, Brandon Marshall, the receiver for the Bears. He's like, man, you got to say. And then I found an old video, man. I don't know if you remember this from the Super Bowl. Me, you, and Nate Burleson. It's an old video. Like y'all was freestyling. It was horrible, but y'all was freestyling. And then after, man, it was like a cool moment of us all kind of laughing and hugging. And he's like, man, I love y'all, man. Like little stuff like that. Like I forget about. But
was that Minnesota?
It was in Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota Super Bowl. It was you and Nate. Me, you, and Nate were on the radio because me and you jumped on like the Big Ten something, and Nate jumped on, and then he was freestyling to the mic.
I remember that.
But somebody, I don't know who had my phone, but they took the video of us. It like, man. And so when I look at those memories, man, I'm like, dude, we are doing like we're living a dream of being on TV. Playing football. So when you look at your kids, man, one quick one, I guess, before we get out of here, because we got to get to the daily 3. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes each. Thank you to FanDuel. Thank you to XM Radio. Loving the SXM Radio app. If you guys want to hear Spice more, make sure you check out the Sirius XM app. You can just download and search Locked On Sports Minnesota, and then the Ron Johnson Show will pop up. But Spice,
hold up, hold. You got ads now?
Oh yeah, man, we got them.
What is going on here?
Oh, yeah, man. We got Birddogs. We got FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On and the Ron Johnson Show. We got
Talk your
we
talk.
got Sirius XM out there. Love Sirius XM though, by the way. Big partner. Sam does the commercials though. I just do the intro read. Sam
I-166.
Sam does the commercials.
Buffalo Grove.
He has it all. He has it all. And everybody knows my FanDuel hit though. Y'all know that. Everybody that's been following me in my FanDuel, my start out. And please believe I'm betting on the Bears Vikings, but my start out, I got the Nuggets over the Lakers, man. I hit it. 5.5 points. I took it. FanDuel, appreciate you. Loved it, man. Appreciate you guys. But Spice, man, when you think about your legacy and your kids, who do you think has like the comedian gene? Because, like, you look at the Wayans brothers and they all learn movies. Like, I know Lil Spice. I've seen him. He's an athlete. Like, he's a wrestler. He's a better athlete than you. Like, he's a wrestler. He's a hooper. You was brute strength. You were just brute power and strength. Like, he's an athlete. But when you look at your daughters and your son, I don't know if Lil Ant got a sense of humor, but who could you see carrying on like the comedic gene?
You know what? Amaya, my 12-year-old, she likes to crack a lot of dad jokes, but I think hitting the stage is a little different. So I think Ayana, my 10-year-old, she might be better suited to stepping on the stage because she absolutely does not care what you have to say about her at all. Like, she don't care. Like, so, she'll look a heckler right in their eyes and like go off on them. So I think like she'd be more.
Might be the one.
Oh yeah, and she's funny and she's like quirky and she does little things where I'm supposed to be upset, but I end up like busting out laughing in front of her because she just makes me laugh, dude. Like, she's Ayana, the baby. She's the one.
And you got and we had you and Lauren Screeden.
There you go.
Get it right.
Screeden. No, the
N should be there though. It should be an N. It should be a screened in. Screened in sounds more like
it's at the end.
And what is her married name too? That was funny too.
Off air. It's gonna be too many jokes. I'll tell it to you off air.
She told me on the show last time it was just her. I forgot already though. It's not Dix, is it?
No, it's not. It's something we'll discuss off air.
Because she said it last time she was on.
I'm gonna text it to you because I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna text it to you.
You are immature.
I am.
Oh my goodness. But when you think about you and Lauren Screeden, and I'm gonna get her maiden name or her married name in a minute. Hoey? Yeah. Hoey. Oh, it is Hoey. Yeah, Lauren Hoey. I remember that. She was that reminds me of I don't know if you saw when Desmond Howard and them had the dude from the little Asian comedian when his wife's name is like,
oh yes.
Yeah, her name is Ho Tran.
Dr.
What's his name?
Leslie
Chow, though.
Dr.
Leslie
Ken,
Chow.
right?
Yeah, that maybe
Ken,
Dr.
right?
Ken. I call him Leslie Chow. But yeah, he was like, shout out to whatever, you complete me whole. That's her name. Relax. That's her name. Her name's like Tran Ho or so.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, Lauren Hoey. So anyway, you and Lauren Hoey, you guys have your shows coming up, man. And last quick before we get out of here, Bears Inside the Bears, you and Lauren Screeden, or Lauren Hoey for those that know her. What are you looking forward to this season with her and like athletes? Or is there anything like that you're really like, man, I can't wait till we shoot this?
Just anything with the players, man. It's always good to see them, doing things in the community for their foundations. And but I just like interacting with people, and especially with Lauren. Like we've been doing this now for 8 seasons.
Yeah.
So we just always have a good time when we're together. And I just like interacting with the fellas, like just doing quirky things like big guys in the Benz where they
Right.
got like a Benz, and we'll just have a conversation just driving around for 15 minutes. So I enjoy doing that. I enjoy just being we've been in like Jewel Oscos and grocery stores just clowning each other, and like we always have a good time when we get together, man. So like I said, man, it's been 8 seasons and I've done it for 10 seasons. When you retire, you don't know what you're gonna do next, and the Bears offered me a job, and I've been doing it now for 10 years, man. So
Yeah,
I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm also grateful that I get to work with a lot of cool people, man.
No, man, I'm not gonna lie. Like I watch your show, I steal your ideas, and then I run them over to the Vikings.
Nah, you don't steal nothing, man. We are doing what everybody else done already, man.
I appreciate you, man. But yeah, no, definitely. Myself and a Vikings gal this year, we're trying to work on. So I told her, I was like, man, because she gave me her idea, and I'm like, man, like Spice and Lauren do that for the Bears. I'm like, and so she pitched it to the Vikings. So we'll see. I know training camp's coming. We're going to shoot shoot a test one to see how it goes and see if our personalities can click. And then we'll see how it goes from there. And you know how it is, man. Like it only takes like having fun and enjoying it. But I've learned a lot from you and Lauren because I've never had a female co-host. I've always had Hobie. It'll be like Sam.
Inside stuff, but for the Minnesota Vikings.
Correct. Yeah. So I forgot I can't say what we're calling it because we got the sponsors out there. We're working on that, and we can't.
Shout out to all the sponsors.
Shout out to them. I got one of the business cards right here. I'm not going to say it, but I will say a car is involved in one of them, so I'm looking forward to that one. I told him, I was like, dude, I will drive to the dealership every Saturday before the Sunday games if you need me to drive the car to the stadium. So,
and your tailor-made suit.
And my tailor-made suit. So we're working on that. But man, Spice, I can talk to you for those that don't know, man, me and Spice, we'll get on FaceTime. And then we'll just end up talking for like 3 hours about absolutely nothing. His wife is a hater. She jumps on. She just wants to hate on everything I do.
Ron said you're a hater.
She hates on everything.
I'm on his show right now.
She hates on everything. Is she going to jump on?
Hey, Ron said he want to see you.
She hates on everything I do. But she went to high school with us. She was a year ahead of us. And then she flunked. And so then she ended up.
Hey, baby, he said you flunked. You got to get in here now. He said. he said you flunked.
Hello, friend.
You got to get in.
You got to get in the camera. See, she's a special person. She doesn't know how cameras work sometimes. But this is Andanika Adams. As I said, as I sign off, I was just saying how me and Spice could talk for hours.
How much you love me?
You're a hater. And then me and Spice will be having a conversation and Andanika jumps in it. And she's a hater. I want to thank you guys for listening. But coming up next,
what friends are for.
We got 3 questions, 3 minutes. You know what it is. It's the Daily 3. And that's coming up next.
Sponsors.
Well, man, I always love talking to Spice. I got to talk to Spice for like another hour, man. We actually did end up talking after the episode as well. He and I, we connect all the time after. So it's always fun to connect with Spice. But remember, people, SXM, proud partner of Locked On Sports Minnesota. You just have to download the SXM app, whichever market you have, Android or iTunes. You can catch every pitch of the Twins hometown broadcast just by going on the app and searching Twins. 8:40 tonight is the first pitch. The Twins are 1-1 right now in the series versus the Mariners, and they have a 1.5 game lead over the Guardians. So the Guardians are giving them a gift. So make sure you check out every pitch of the Twins hometown broadcast with the SXM app. Just search Twins. Well, it's now time for the Daily 3. Man, we spent a lot of time with Spice, so I'm gonna go quick with these today, man. 30 seconds. Take it away, Sam.
Allegations continue to mount against Northwestern football and Pat Fitzgerald of a culture involving hazing, sexual hazing, weird stuff, and racism as well. Serious allegations. Ron, we'll debate these allegations forever. It's kind of a he said sometimes. Some think it's true, some think it's overblown. But do you believe this program is going to be able to recover from this setback now without Fitzgerald and the conference getting bigger and better and stronger every year?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the bigger and better. The fact that the conference is growing, the Big Ten can't kick Northwestern out for something like this because it doesn't affect it'll affect every sport. But I will say this is definitely a black eye on the football program when kids are looking like, am I going to commit? One, you don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to get like the death penalty where they can't go to a bowl game or something? They're going to lose scholarships because there's all kinds of things that happen with this. So it's going to be tough for, and they were 1-11 anyway already. The transfer portal is open. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time for Northwestern to overcome this one.
All right, next on the list, another college sports topic. The NCAA is considering expansion of the March Madness tournament. It's currently at 68 teams, if you include the play-in round. Would this be good or bad for college basketball to expand that tournament?
Have you seen that commercial where people are in a restaurant, not going to say who because they're not a sponsor, but then everybody hits that button because they want more sports? I don't see a problem with this. NCAA basketball is one of the most exciting games and weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks of the year when March Madness happens. So them making it maybe 70, maybe 80 teams where there's a bunch of play-in games, like for that 12, 13, 14, and 15 and 16 spots. So instead of you just getting the 16, you got to play your way in for 16, 15, 14, 13, and 12. Hey, why not? Why not add more basketball to it? So, but at the end of the day, to be honest, I don't know how many people actually watch the playing games unless it's like I watched the Miami versus, I forgot who they're playing because I want to see how good they were going to be. But like, nothing against William and Mary or St. Joe's and some of those. A lot of people are watching those, like those Mountain West and some of those play-ins. But if you put some big some big major D1s up against each other for the play-in, like Minnesota gets a chance to play in and they have to go against like West Virginia. Oh, I'm watching. So yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, you think it's hard to fill out your bracket perfectly now? Imagine if that was a 96-team tournament. How hard
well, hopefully the brackets
would
wouldn't start until 64. Like you just add to the tournament at the beginning, and then maybe bracketology won't start until 64 have been named. I hope that's how they would keep doing it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But yeah, expand the play-in round. That's fun. That's fine. All right, last one. Byron Buxton is under fire right now. Carlos Correa, he's heated up a little bit. Maybe the eyeballs are off him a tad, but Byron Buxton is in a slump. He's got 6 years left on his $100 million contract, and people are calling him to be benched potentially, or maybe even put on the injured list for a while with his average below 200 right now. How would you handle a struggling yet very expensive player who you've committed to, like Byron Buxton?
That's tough. I mean, I don't know the rules. Like if they send him down to AAA, how quick can they bring him back up? But yeah, maybe he needs to change the scenery. Maybe he does need to go on the injury list for a little bit just to get his mind right. Because hitting and when you're a pro, this is the thing. When we know what a guy can do, we've seen him hit bombs. We've seen him hit like consistently. Some stuff becomes mental when they overthink it. So yeah, maybe a change of scenery or just a change. Maybe gets his mind flipped back to where he's at. Because it's not that he can't do it or doesn't have the physical tools to do it or the ability to do it. It's got to be here. So I'd say a change of scenery might not be a bad idea, especially the fact that they have a 1.5 game lead. Maybe let's 10 days. Let's go to the 10-day DL list. Just get him down for 10 days, especially if it's 10 days of teams you can take care of without him anyway, and his bat's not helping you anyway. Maybe a change will help him, bring him back, and then he's off like gangbusters. But that's the only thing I can think of. I don't know, Sam. Do you have an idea?
Boy, it is tough because you can't give up on him. I mean, you've committed so much. 6 years left on a $100 million deal. Same with Correa. 6 years, more than $100 million. So you got to stick with these guys to some extent. You got to coach them up. Got to keep their confidence up. And if they're playing through injury, yeah, that makes it tough. It might an injured list stint might not be the worst thing in the world.
Right, and that's what I wonder. Is he playing through an injury that he is not truly disclosed, like they just call it soreness, but it's something else? You never know. But enjoyed the show today. Enjoy Spice Adams. People, please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment on social media, on YouTube. We love to interact with you guys. And remember, if you want Endless Vikings talk with local experts, just make sure you subscribe. Go to YouTube, Spotify, iHeartMedia app. You can go to iTunes. You can also go to the Roku or Amazon Fire devices on your TVs. You can download Locked On Sports Minnesota. You can get all of our videos, all of our shows right there on your TV. But I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. I want to thank you guys and have a great day.